Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Bib. I'm your host, Lisa Watkins, and I am delighted to be here with all of you in this middle of the day, in this middle of the night, in this middle of the long run. However you are listening to me, I am delighted that you are here. Today we have a wonderful episode coming up. I spoke with Eric Fritz and Rhonda Hayden of the Rocket City Marathon. So that marathon weekend is coming up in December, and they give you all the deets. And be sure to listen all the way through because Rhonda reveals some new things new to the marathon this year that haven't happened yet. And you guys are gonna want to see those. All right. So this episode is a little bit longer, so I'm not going to do my typical recap of this past weekend. Just know that if you showed up at the Spooktacular, you were awesome. That was a fantastic race. I enjoyed being the smack with everyone, and especially Ashley and all of your wonderful Alice in Wonderlands. Oh my God, you guys were so stinking cute. I just love seeing everyone dressed up. All right, so without further ado, let's get into my discussion with Eric and Rhonda, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, y'all take care. See you in a second. Greetings and salutations, Eric and Rhonda. Welcome to Behind the Bib, this little podcast of mine.
Well, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so just in case folks do not know who you are, let's talk about that. I think they know who I am. Hopefully they found me. And Eric, why don't you go first? Introduce yourself.
My name's Eric Fritz, and gee whiz, I'm the Rocket City Marathon race director. The official title this year. Last year we kind of did it by committee after the previous race directors left, kind of midstream. I've been the Huntsville Track Club president for I think it was 12 or 14 years. I can't really remember. But I've been involved with the track club on the board and everything since 2010, I think. Mm-hmm. So been pretty involved from there, doing a lot of different things. So people locally, they know who I am typically, but I'm also now the old guy.
Old guy on the course. It's rough. Yes. That's a rough transition, actually.
No, it's when I came in back then, 15 years ago, I was the new guy with the new ideas and trying to get the young people engaged and everything else. And there were a bunch of other old guys, and now I'm that old guy.
The old guy. Right. Okay, Rhonda, what about you?
My name's Rhonda Hayden, and I'm the Rocket City Marathon race coordinator. And it just kind of means I'm the catch-all, I guess you would say. So Eric is the race director. He takes care of everything that is really on the race course and helps coordinate the committees for the volunteers and, everything from volunteers to expo coordination and porta potties and anything you can imagine. And then I kind of lean more into maybe the marketing and advertising aspect, sponsorships, and, just race day logistics and layouts of things and sponsorship management. So we both have our niches that we work with the Rocket City Marathon on. And I don't think I couldn't do this by myself. That's for sure. And Eric is just a great individual to work with. He has so much knowledge of course, the Huntsville area and the running community there. So, it's been working great. Here we are in the 49th year of the Rocket City Marathon.
Okay, so before we get into Rocket City Marathon and the details about the marathon, from who it benefits down to the new medals this year, let's talk a little bit just about you as runners, right? Because that's fundamentally why we're here and why we do all of the things and why we picked the hardest and I think the most expensive hobby we could have picked. But let's talk about, okay, so I call it just story time. Like, when you're kindergartners and you sit around the carpet for story time. So do each of you have a favorite running story, something that when you're sitting around and you're having a cold beverage with other runners after the races that you always bring up?
Well, I think Eric coming off of 100-miler and his wife coming off of a 200-mile race just 2 weeks ago, I think he probably has the better stories to tell.
All right. Well, we'll start with Eric then.
Well, I mean, I probably have a million different stories, but trying to find, my favorite story, things like that
Uh-huh.
is very difficult because being old means you've done a lot of things too, especially with these longer races that I love to do. There's stories in every single one of them.
Yeah.
When you sent me that note earlier and said that, hey, do you think of a your favorite running story type thing to maybe talk about? I was like, I have no idea.
Like picking your favorite child.
Yeah, exactly. But what I came up with, I was thinking about one thing that was really, really kind of amazing. There's a thing that these crazy runners, long distance trail runners do called the SCAR. And it's an acronym. It stands for the Smoky Challenge Adventure Run. And you run the Appalachian Trail for the distance that is within the Smoky Mountain National Park. And it's 70 miles ish, and it's very mountainous.
I was going to say, this is the Smoky Mountains, right? So
Yes.
I don't think the term rolling hills applies to that.
Yeah, the crazy elite people are doing this in probably like 15 hours or something like that. You typically you're kind of feel good about yourself if you can pull it off in 24 hours. But I think it took us something like 28 or something. I can't even remember. And the thing that made it so, I mean, to me, there's always an exciting story when you're running through the woods because there's just so many things that can happen and that go on and all that kind of stuff. But we happened to pick the weekend that it was beautiful. We started on Friday evening and ran through the night so we could try and finish in the daylight. Well, that didn't really work when it took us longer than 24 hours. But the thing was, somewhere in the middle of the night on that Friday night, there was some hurricane. This was like 2020. Some hurricane hit the East Coast or came through. Maybe it was one that hit. It was just a lot of rain and it was windy as heck up on the top of the mountains, which it can be anyway. But I just remember the only time you get to see basically any kind of civilization, which basically means a road, is when you cross. I don't know if you've been to the Smoky Mountains, but there's basically one road goes from Gatlinburg up over to Maggie Valley. And at the top of that is Clingman's Dome. And the Appalachian Trail goes right by Clingman's Dome up at the top with the tower up there and everything else. That was around when it was really bad weather and the sun was just starting to come up. And I was doing this with Dana Overton, who's a great running buddy of mine, local lady around here that runs. So the two of us were doing this. Both of our significant others were there waiting for us. And I had neglected to put my rain gear on early. I put it on. I was like, it's not raining bad. I can keep going. And then I got wet and then I put my rain gear on. So I was freezing to death in the early morning. And all I could think of was, I hope Dana quits. I hope she wants to quit. I hope she wants to quit because I just wanted to quit so bad. And we get up there and she talks to Wayne and we do our little thing where we get to see each other. And she goes, okay, let's go. And I almost cried, but and then to make matters worse, if you've ever been up to Clingman's Dome, you do actually have two places where you can see because that's kind of up there at the very top, but you cross the main road in about 10 miles further down the road or something like that. And if you've ever been there, you take the main road up and then you turn and you take a road that just goes up and up and up to the top of the Clingman's Dome. I don't know if it's the highest peak in the Smokies, but it's at least close. And when you go up that road, it's just a road that just goes up and up. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, we're up top here and we're going to have a nice downhill stretch for a while to get back to that road. Yeah. Well, the road does that. The trail definitely does not do that. Oh. So it was like murderous.
Oh, that would have been heartbreaking.
Downhill, uphill, all this stuff to get down there. It was an adventure and it was fun and we got it done. It just took us a little longer.
Got it done. Oh.
Yes. And that's a key thing. Just getting it done. Don't quit.
Right? Don't. Yeah. Just you have to just keep going. What is the quote? How blessed we are to be able to feel exhausted by a challenge that we chose ourselves, right? So Ron, did you have a story you wanted to tell?
After that,
no,
Ron,
I don't think I have a yeah, my turn. No, I don't think I have a specific story. I do everything from 5Ks to marathons, and I've done 50 milers before and Ironmans and all of that kind of stuff. But to be honest with you, I'm with Eric. I'm the older person out there now. I'm no longer the younger one. My kids are the younger ones out there. But I think as I've gotten older, what I really enjoy and what I base going to races on is, I pick races that I kind of want to see what they're doing, that has a great following or the best medals or the best finish line party. And just really see what they're doing. So I'm out on race courses taking notes, of the things that I love and the things that
Get the
maybe could
camera
have been
out.
done differently. I'm looking at the logistics of what's going on out there nowadays rather than, focusing on my actual run and times and things like that, which has made it very enjoyable. And then I would say all of my favorite running stories have come from being a volunteer on a race course. It is priceless to be the support out there for runners on race day, no matter whether it's a 5K or it's a marathon or it's an ultra, and the stories that you hear as a volunteer and the emotions that you see play out in someone else's race, to me, is probably one of the best parts of, being a part of the running community.
I saw a great reel that, it shows these different people, they're crossing the finish line and the emotion, especially after
Yeah,
marathons or ultras, right? The emotion that kind of washes over them. And the takeaway was that you never know the reasons why somebody may be running, but when they cross the finish line, you will see it. It's just because you do. It's incredible. And I think until you experience it, either on one side or the other, you don't understand. You don't understand the feeling and the emotions that wash over you as you feel. I know me personally, and I'm sure y'all have experienced it, your own version of this is as you cross the finish line in something that you thought, I wasn't going to be able to do this, yet you've somehow, completed it. It washes over you, and the whole emotion of the strength that you gained, the confidence that you gained, doing something that you didn't think that you would be able to do in completing it. And I don't think people understand until you go through that, how impactful it can be, not just in your running life, but in your personal life as well. Right?
absolutely. And I've heard several of the races that I've been a part of, when I call people back for year two to volunteer, hey, you volunteered for us
Mhm.
last year. Would you like
Yeah.
to come back? And they're like, I'm doing it this year.
Yeah.
They've never run a race before, but they just
Yeah.
got the energy and the excitement, and they saw like they can do it.
I
If
can
they
do it
can do
too.
it, I can do it. So,
I can do it too.
being a volunteer, whether you are already an athlete and you get to see it from other people's perspective through the race day, or if you're not an athlete, it could be so encouraging and inspiring and be the
Mhm.
path that gets you into the
Mhm.
sport. So,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, speaking of the path that gets you into the sport, let's talk about it. Let's talk about why we're actually here today, which is the Rocket City Marathon, right? Let's talk first about the location for the marathon. Let's go into who it benefits. Let's talk about elevation. Let's talk about cutoff times, because that's especially important to people like me. Like, I'm a 6-hour marathoner. And so I always like to have that extra little cushion, just because if I have another porta pot stop or a GI issue, or there's a dog that needed to be pet real bad. So let's talk about all the details. I saw that you only have a few hundred signups left to break the sign up record. Was that?
I think about 11 o'clock today, Eric and I noticed we needed 15 more people to sign up so we could break the record of the largest year for the Rocket City Marathon. And before we got on this call,
Uh-huh.
we both said, did you see? So we have surpassed the biggest Rocket City Marathon race weekend so far, with over 4,000
That's
participants.
fantastic.
And we are planning to keep going and see how far we can get. We do have cutoffs, and each one of the distances has a different cutoff, and
Mhm.
we're getting very close on the 5K and 10K. The half marathon and marathon, I would say we probably have a few more weeks before we get there. But
Okay.
if registrations keep coming in like they did last year at this
Mhm.
point,
Mhm.
moving forward, we should be in a sellout situation, if not
Great.
for all of the distances.
That's fantastic. That's great
Yeah.
news. Mhm.
Everybody getting behind Rocket City, it's really speaks volumes for what Huntsville has been able to do and build over the years. And I think the
Mhm.
momentum's going now.
All right, so I've got a question. I'm going to let Eric talk about the marathon, but maybe Rhonda, while Eric's talking, you can get the answer for us because you always put up the map where you have runners
Uh-huh.
traveling from. Okay, so I want to know where we don't have runners so that we can kind of see if our network web can pull in runners and we can hit all the states. But
While y'all are chit-chatting, I'm
uh-huh.
gonna pull that up. I think I know, but I want to make sure. So,
Okay. All
yeah.
right. So
We
Eric,
got a
tell us
new one
the
last week.
Did we?
Yeah, so we're down to 4, I think.
uh,
Okay.
okay, so tell us about the marathon, Eric.
So the marathon, don't let me drift too far into history.
Okay.
Because I will
You're
do
telling
that.
the wrong person to stop you from drifting.
But yeah, the marathon was just going to go through kind of the major different courses. It originally, the marathon started on top of Montesano at Montesano Elementary School.
My kids
And,
went to that school, by the way. I was the treasurer for the PTA.
oh, wow. But that was in 1977, and it did that for 2 years. It ran from the top of the mountain down Bankhead Parkway, all the way out to Space and Rocket Center. Then it went up to like Research Park and finished at UAH.
Holy crap. That's the point
Yes.
to point.
Point to point, downhill, net downhill.
That downhill.
In 77. And
Dadgum.
then, like, after 2 years, a couple of things happened. One, the National Records people instituted the drop in separation rules, which say that it's not record eligible if your drop is more than some percentage.
Mhm.
But
That's what I
so
meant.
you can't do a net
BQR.
downhill that's that much downhill.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot more and more of
Bankhead's a
net
pretty
downhill.
serious downhill there.
Sorry?
I said Bankhead's a pretty serious downhill there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're seeing more and more net downhill courses because Boston doesn't require that rule for record. That's a record keeping rule as opposed to a Boston qualifying rule. You can't have point to point. I mean, you can have point to point, but your point to point can't be more than half the distance of your race. So you would have to finish within 13 miles basically of where you started if you wanted to have a point to point race that was still record eligible. Boston doesn't care about those two rules because Boston is point to point. And
yeah, it'd be a little hypocritical, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
See, I walked right on down that road with
yes.
you.
But the other thing that they learned that very first year is that you can't control the trains. And
that's right.
You can't, they had to run to follow that course and everything. You had to run across train tracks and there were problems with trains. The next major thing for the marathon through the 80s and early 90s was it ran from Grissom High School, the old Grissom High School, which is now the Sandra B. Moon Center down there on Bailey Cove. It ran from there and there were a few different courses, but it pretty much ran from there up to downtown and back in terms of the course. Okay. Then it moved to downtown. And it used to run from what was the Holiday Inn. It was the Hilton, then it was the Holiday Inn. And they finished in the back parking lot of that. And back around 2014, I think it is, or 2013, they said, we're bulldozing the Holiday Inn. We're going to build all this stuff. It's where the apartments are that are right next to the AC Hotel. And that whole Thomas E. Lowry Boulevard that the marathon runs on didn't exist, but that's where it used to finish. So they did all that. So we said, hey, let's go see what it's like to finish inside. And that's when we moved to the course that we deal with now. And our course has pretty much always been kind of similar. We made some changes this year, but we tried to minimize the changes as much as we can. That was kind of because of our local police and services. They don't want changes as much as possible.
I've heard.
Yes, it's a challenge, but we've always kind of done a loop up in Northeast Huntsville and then go do a loop out in kind of Southwest Huntsville, but more basically out to the Space and Rock Center, Botanical Gardens, things like that. So ever since we changed back in 10, 11 years ago, that's what the course has kind of been. Last year, we used to run out to UAH and Research Park on the other side of the interstate. We did that, I think, the past couple of years. There was a lot of logistical headaches with that. We've reduced us down to 1 half marathon. Last year, we had the past 3 years. I think we've had 2 half marathons.
The front half and the
front half and a back half marathon, which requires all kinds of bus management and different start lines and finish lines, logistical nightmares. I'm not so upset about the logistical nightmares. One of the biggest reasons I wanted to get rid of those things last year was because last year was probably the first year in a while that I hadn't been out there running like the back half or something like that. What I saw people finishing the front half. And this past year was the first year I was in the VBC when the majority of people were running. I've been there late in the race, things like that, when there's people coming in, but it was quite the party, quite the exciting big thing going on and everything. But earlier that day, I was at Campus 805, and it was kind of a rainy day last year. And there was, I mean, I don't want to talk bad about my own race, but there was like 2 or 3 people there handing out bottles of water as people were coming across the finish line.
Yeah.
And
just
that was, nobody's
feeling.
Clapping, no cowbells ringing, no.
Not the same feeling.
No, and I was like, we're cheating these people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like a flat Coke Zero. It's just, just not. That's great.
So really that was kind of a, hey, we really should be getting everything to start and finish at the VBC. Yeah. And let's eliminate these logistical headaches, and let's make it more exciting for everyone. So that's kind of one of our big focuses this year is trying to smooth out everything, make everything more straightforward and more enjoyable for the runners. Rhonda and I have been spending an inordinate amount of time working on how can we make our start more exciting.
Ooh, okay.
So we want to make that better, more exciting. But I mean, location, it starts right in front of the Probst Arena. Kind of, there's that little bridge that goes over the canal. That's going to be basically the whole start setup is right there on top of that bridge. Big Spring Park's right there. So it's really pretty. And they'll have trees out and everything for Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's right. The tinsel trail will be up.
Yes. So it should be really, really nice and pretty and everything. But then, it runs out into the neighborhoods. It runs from downtown. We do a little tour of downtown Huntsville this year. But instead of doing it as we did in the past, we did it in the middle of the race. Now we're doing it more in the beginning of the race to go through the tour of downtown, see the old Twickingham houses and all that stuff. And then we head out into the neighborhoods, and lots of neighborhood running for the first, I'd say probably after the first couple miles, then probably the next 10 miles are all, Blossomwood, 5 Points, all that kind of stuff up there off Oakwood, those kind of areas. Come back downtown, go through Gateway Park and all that, where the wine runs over in that area. Kind of skirt through downtown by the Huntsville Depot and head over to Campus 805 and basically start running west to get out there to the Space and Rocket Center. So we run through some neighborhoods out there to get there. Along the way, we head out to Space and Rock Center, do our loop through the Space and Rock Center, go into the rocket park right underneath the space shuttle that's out there, right next to the big Saturn V that you see as you go by, and then head back out of the Space and Rock Center to head over to the Botanical Gardens, where we follow the same route as the Galaxy of Lights.
So you go through the Botanical Gardens, and then you make your way back downtown.
Yeah. Then you just make your way back downtown, going through the old West Huntsville, which is really kind of up and coming these days. So it's kind of nice. But we come into the Big Spring Park now at basically on Big Spring Park East off of Spraggins Street, which is over there by the old spring that the Big Spring Park's named after. But that's really where you basically, from there, you run through the trees in the Tinsel Trail all the way through and you don't circle the whole lake anymore. You just run along the lake to get back over there and run into. And then that's probably one of our signature things is we finish indoors. Yeah. Finishing indoors means you have a little bit of a tiny little hill at the finish. There's probably about maybe a 10-foot rise over a 50 or 75-foot length that you have to go up, which can suck.
At the end, it can.
It's nothing like Marine Corps last weekend that I had some friends do. I did Marine Corps years ago, and that's like the Cotton Row Hill right there at the finish. But yeah, finishing indoors is pretty cool because we've got the whole arch set up there from Thursday onward, and it'll be up in the expo. It'll be there for everybody to see what it's going to look like. But then it's inside. So people hang around, as opposed to if the weather's not nice, everybody just takes off. Really good running weather.
I think all in all, the weather turns out to make for a great race day.
And what about the elevation for this one?
Well, it's better than it was last year. No, we get a lot of the elevation is not bad, actually. We just get we're probably in the 650, 700 kind of range.
I saw the profile. It kind of
I mean, it looks, but last year when we headed out to UAH and that Holmes Avenue we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You had to climb all that way up to that CCI building
Mm-hmm.
and up to get over to Holmes. And then again, you had to go out after you got past UAH, you had to climb up on the other side of Sparkman. There was a big hill there you had to climb. So those are all gone. So that's really dropped us down. There, it was probably more 750, 800 last year, somewhere in those 800 ranges that we're down back in the somewhere around 700 feet of gain, which is, I mean, I wouldn't call it the flattest course in the world, but it's.
So we talked a little bit about where the course goes through the city, how the course ends inside the arena. Rhonda, you had showed me a little bit of the medals are much different this year. And I also want to talk about like everything, like all the branding and stuff is different this year too. So Rhonda, what's going on with the medals? How are those going to be different?
Well, the race day medals that everybody will get for the 1 mile, 5K, 10K, half marathon, and marathon, those are all going to be our new logo. So we've got a new logo that was designed this year that incorporates a lot of the different elements that you're going to see when you're out there running the race course. It has the rocket in the logo, and it has a sculpture called the Traveler that's in the park right there at the start line. You can actually see it looks like the dinosaur bones.
I call them the whale bones. It has a name. It's called the Traveler.
It's Travelers 2. I think.
Travelers
and it's
2,
got a
like
whole,
number 2?
You need to read the story about it, but it's pretty intriguing once you learn something about that actual sculpture that's out there. And then the logo has the water from the park that you run by and stuff like that. So there's a lot more to the design than us just, putting something together. But it really is, it showcases some of the things that we have to highlight on our run. So that is what all the finishers medals are going to be. And then we have gone a different route for the awards this year. So all of our age group award winners will get a glass blown medal by a glass blower that's in Mississippi. His name's Jeremy Tomley. He owns Mohawk Steel and Glass. So, but those glass medals will be like a round disc. I don't know if I should show.
I was like, do you want to show?
A little example of it. It is this round glass blown metal, and it will have the new logo imprinted in it. And then we'll have the age group award finisher ribbons that will come with those. So we're kind of excited to do something different than other races and different for Rocket City for our awards this year. Yeah. And then, of course, we've got the cash prizes for the big overall winners on the marathon, and that always goes over well with the fast runners that Rocket City seems to bring in.
Yeah, and nothing like some cold hard cash, right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about cutoff time, right? How do you make the marathon more inclusive for those of us that might be 6-hour bus?
I think the most, and I'll let Eric speak on this too, but I just want to make sure that the back of the pack runners know that it is not a group of us sitting around saying, we're going to put a time limit on this race. And if you're not in by this time, we don't want you to finish. Yeah. It has nothing to do with that. We would love to have that finish line open until the last runner crawls through the finish line. We are partnering with the city of Huntsville and with the Huntsville Police Department, and those police officers are graciously coming out there in the wee hours of the night to get ready for our runners to start. We have the early start marathon that starts at 6 a.m. and they are there. They are there hours before that to be prepared for when runners are starting. Now, the majority of the officers come out when the marathon starts at 7 o'clock. But I mean, we're getting everything in place, 3-4 o'clock in the morning. So they have a hard cutoff time that we have got to be off of the streets by a particular time. And we will abide by that. We want to do what's right for the city and get the roads opened back up and let the people who have graciously given their volunteer hours to us for the day, they've got to get home. They've got to get some rest and get ready for Monday to come. So, but I'll let Eric speak to you about the early start half marathon, which is totally cool and the best thing ever for runners who aren't going to quite make the cutoff if they start with the marathon.
Okay.
Just to start on the side note, we do have, for the half marathon, there's a 4-hour cutoff. So the half marathon starts, it's a back half marathon. The back half marathon will start at the same place as the full marathon, but it runs basically 1.5 miles or 2 miles downtown and then merges in with the marathon and runs the last 11.1 or whatever with the full marathoners. So that's 4 hour. That's a 4-hour cutoff. It starts at 9 a.m.
Okay.
So if you want to run a half marathon and sleep in a little, there you go.
That's pretty sweet, actually. A 9 a.m. start in December is just
or drive in town from Birmingham or somewhere that's not too far away.
You don't have to leave at 3.
To get up so early.
Yeah, right.
That's cool. Basically designed to give them a nice 4-hour cutoff for a half marathon and still keep it within the bounds of the marathon and get runners off the road at 1:00, which is what Rhonda was talking about. The city wants us off the road by, and finish within that time frame. Moving to the full marathon generally has, quote, a 6-hour cutoff. Starts at 7, is finished by 1. And that's pretty much your standard run of the mill. For those people who are the back of the packers that like to take the pictures and enjoy their day out there, or whatever reason, that they end up being at the back of the pack. We've got the city to allow us to do this early start, as Rhonda was talking about. We get them out there early in the morning, and starting at 6 a.m., they've got headlamps. They've got police officers kind of corralling them, taking them off, and they leave. And the big thing is that there are rules around this. So you can't just say, you can't just say, I want to start at 6 a.m. because I want to get done early.
Okay.
So if you're a fast guy, you're not allowed to start with the early start 6 hours. Or 7 hours.
That makes sense.
It's just for those people that are going to think that they might need more than 6 hours to get this thing done. So what we do is we restrict them. We have special pacers that run with them, and those pacers will run a 7-hour pace for the first half of that marathon until the rest of the marathoners that are starting an hour later catch up to them and encompass them in the mass of the pack. They can't pass those special pacers.
Yeah, you can't take off and run a 2:45.
If they pass those pacers, they get disqualified.
Oh, wow.
We actually had to do that last year because some people didn't understand the rules and things like that, and they got way out in front, and we had to track them down, and it was a major deal.
And again, there is a reasoning behind that. That is not us just sitting back making up these, crazy rules and stuff, but we have police officers who are at the start that will make their way towards other miles along the race course. And if we allow people to start at 6 and run at a fast pace, they're going to get to intersections and volunteer stations and water stations before we have our manpower out on the race course, because we literally do take people from the beginning of the race and shift them over to the back of the race. And we've got the timing down of when the first athlete should be at every intersection and stuff like that. So that's the real reason behind saying, if you're going to start early, you've got to abide by that pace for the first 13 miles. And after that, everybody's in place and, you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. You do resource leveling. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about like the registration details, the expo details, when the expo is going to be open, who you're going to have at the expo, any cool things about that. And then we'll talk a little bit about how folks can find out more information about the marathon.
So it's 100% is straight through rockcitymarathon.run, our website. And that website is hosted on Run Sign Up. It's all Run Sign Up registration. So people who understand Run Sign Up and have their accounts and all that stuff and know how to manage all that stuff will be just fine.
Good. It fills
but
in my
it is-
information for me, and all I have to do is click my name.
yes.
Right.
Exactly. It knows who your emergency contact is already. It doesn't,
Mhm.
it even has your credit card.
Exactly. I put the one in there that will answer the phone, actually. And be like, I don't recognize that number.
Yes.
Okay, what about the expo? What's going to go on with the expo?
So the expo is part of Packet Pickup, which will start on Friday afternoon. We've got a lot of local vendors that will be there. Of course, our running stores, Fleet Feet from Huntsville, Madison, Running Lane,
Uh-huh.
Saturn Sports, they will all be there. We've got
Cool.
different outfitters that are going to be there. And then we have a bunch of different shoes companies that will be there, like your Saucony and your Brooks reps and things like that.
Cool.
So, we have a great expo when you look at other marathons that are our size. We are fortunate enough to have running stores that will bring in vendors for us and help us get that going. And then we've got the local businesses. We've got chiropractors, massage therapists, Pilates studios, different wellness centers. They're all going to be there too.
Cool.
So we're bringing back a charity out of Atlanta that runners can bring their old shoes and donate their old shoes at the expo. So just fill your bags with as many old shoes, running shoes, not dress shoes or anything like that you have, and they will either repurpose those, or if they're not able to repurpose them, they actually grind them up and make the little beans that are in like Beanie Baby stuffed animals.
Oh, cool.
And they make stuffed animals that they sell on their website. So we've got them coming back, and then we've got a couple of other races that will be there marketing their events too. So, so our expo is, I think it's a little bit bigger this year than it was last year. And that's the goal, just to keep growing it and getting different vendors that want to be a part of it.
Do you have any podcasts?
We do not, but you're going to be out of town.
Next year I won't be.
Okay. For the 50th anniversary, that would be amazing. We would love it. We would love it.
Just saying.
Yeah. And then, of course, we, kind of amped up the Rocket City Marathon store last year. So we had everything from branded hats to sun visors to socks to jackets, sweatshirts, T-shirts, dry fit shirts. We kind of had a little bit of everything, and we're doing that again this year. And the exciting thing is a lot of the new merch will have the new Rocket City logo incorporated into it. So
let's talk a little bit about your new charity partner.
Okay. And I'll let Eric go into this too, but we do have a philanthropic partnership with the Huntsville Hospital that we are looking forward to and pursuing, on an annual basis with them. Awesome. And each year it looks like it will be a different project that we will either fund or help fund, depending on how much the price tag is behind that project. So we actually we actually went to the Huntsville Hospital this past summer and just kind of proposed what we were looking to do and asked them to provide us with maybe 2 or 3 different projects that revolved around pediatrics that needed some type of funding. And so they presented us with a few different projects, and then we selected one, and I'll let Eric tell you about what that project is this year.
Nice segue.
Yes. The project is a therapy playground for children who are in the pediatric department at Huntsville Hospital to help them work through their physical therapy. It's supposed to be very inclusive and very accessible for all of them, because right now all of that type of therapy is being done indoors. This is going to be an outdoor space that's safe and everything. So we thought that fit very well with what the track club's all about, with physical activity. And it also, focusing on the pediatrics, is really, it's something that I think affects pretty much everyone in Huntsville. Someone you knew was born in that hospital.
Most everybody I know was born.
Yes. But yeah, that really is a big part of the hospital. So one of the big things about this that's kind of new and exciting to me is that this is the Rock City Marathon is put on by the Huntsville Track Club, and the Huntsville Track Club is a 100% all volunteer, not for profit organization that has been around since 1971. And it's just runners and it's always been runners doing things for runners, putting on races, giving back to. We want to focus the large amount of giving to a charity, something that's going to make a difference in our community, and give back to that community that we've been a part of for so long. So we're really excited about that. And we went to the Huntsville Hospital. We've spent 22 years now working with the Huntsville Hospital with the Liz Hurley Ribbon Run, and
do it every year,
building that up and that's got a life of its own for sure. It has for the past 10 years.
Huge.
So we've had some really good relationships there. We basically called on those relationships and said, hey, we'd love to do something with you. And they basically said, wait, what? You want to give us money?
Yeah.
We're all open arms. And
we're all ears.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm really excited because the hospital touches everyone.
To wrap things up, let's talk a little bit about where folks can go to find out more about the marathon, and let's hit your socials, like where if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok. Let's hit all that kind of stuff.
So I'll hit the socials and I'll let Eric hit the website. But so we've got a Facebook page that's Rocket City Marathon, and it's been up for plenty of years now. And I think we're just shy of I think we have 8,500 followers on there at this point. So, and it's growing, but, and then we have an Instagram account that's I Run Rocket City. And we pretty much post on there daily. We might skip a day or two because something else is just got in the way, but we like to throw out stats of how many people are registered, what the largest age group is, and then as who our sponsors are. And then as the race gets closer, which we're on the countdown, we were 7 weeks this Saturday. So as it gets closer and closer, it will be all race weekend information. Like this is what time packet pickup is. This is, these are the hotels that you can stay in. This is where you want to go eat. So if I were running the Rocket City Marathon, all of that information is on the website. You just have to look for it.
Yeah. And the website is, like I said earlier, it is the same as our run sign up registration site. That is one of the changes we made this year as well. So we didn't have to maintain information in 2 different places.
Great.
Run sign up does provide a lot of tools to make a site. You may not be able to make it exactly what you would want it to be, but you can get all the information out there. And that's the big thing we want to do, is we want to make sure all the information's out there. So we've recently put the courses out there for everybody to see. Rhonda has mentioned before that since we've made this and started focusing on that website, we've got, I don't know what the number was we mentioned, but a lot less questions in email and things.
Yeah,
like
people
are
are
working, right?
People are able to find stuff a lot easier. And I think something cool that is coming down the pipeline, that anybody that is in racing and uses Run Sign Up. Eric and I went to a conference in Nashville this summer, and they were talking about how AI is being incorporated into the race industry and what that looks like. And one of the cool features that Run Sign Up is in the process of rolling out at this point is, instead of you going on, let's say, Rocket City's website, and you got to dig to find, what time is packet pickup and what day is it and stuff. They've got a feature that's more like a search box now and it's not up and running yet, but they're working on it. So you could just go to our website and say, what time is packet pickup? What's the location of packet pickup? And, and that kind of stuff. And it will give you that information. So we're hoping to have that feature ready to go for next year, because I'm extremely excited about it. The information is on the website. You just got to look through the menu at the top and for the topic that you're interested in, and then click on that and read through the information once you get to the right page. But
and before we get to my
my favorite part of the podcast, which is one piece of advice from everybody. Rhonda, did you find the answer to the states that we don't have?
Yeah, I did. And Eric, I think this is right. So there's 4 states that we currently don't have, and that is Hawaii, Alaska, Wyoming, and South Dakota.
Is it south or north?
I would have said Montana in there.
I was thinking it
New
was North Dakota.
Mexico, huh?
I was thinking it was North Dakota, not South Dakota.
No, North Dakota's on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And we just filled, I guess, New Mexico very recently, Eric, huh?
Yes,
'Cause
that was the one that came
on
in
the
last
list.
week.
That was the 5th one. But yeah, so Hawaii,
That's fantastic.
Alaska, Wyoming, and South Dakota at this
Okay.
point.
All right. We'll put it out there into the universe and
And
choose the other
there are
methods.
about 5 at least different countries that are coming as well.
Really? That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I mean Mexico and Canada, but then there's like China and South Africa and I think like
Albania.
Albania and Andorra or something. I mean, yeah.
Wow. Cool. That's fantastic. Okay. All right. So, favorite part of interviewing folks, because not only do I like to learn from people, it kind of feeds my soul. So one piece of advice from each of you. And Rhonda, I'll start with you, and then Eric, we will finish with you, if that's okay. I asked Laz Lake this question at Montesano, and he said, don't put beans up your nose. So anything above that will be great.
Okay. I'm looking from a race perspective, outlook when I speak on this. Have fun and give a volunteer a high five. No
I love
matter
that.
what race you're doing. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for all the volunteers that we have. So enjoy and tell them you're grateful.
True statement. Absolutely. Love that. Eric, what about you?
I was thinking about this and I had what I was going to say. And as we were talking, I was like, I need to kind of say this other thing too. No, it's kind of for runners and through your running career, because I'm old now and I can't do what I used to be able to do. I can't. So one of the things is don't wait to do what you really want to do.
Ooh.
And I'm not saying I've got regrets necessarily, but there are things like chasing a 3-hour marathon, things like that, that I know I could have attained at one point in my life, and I let myself go other ways. And now I'm kind of like, I wish I did that.
Yep, my body can't maybe not reach that at this point, but then it could have maybe.
But whatever. But really, just for more, I mean, that's for more general. I mean, don't be afraid to do different things. Like if you're a 5Ker, don't be afraid to go out there and do your half marathon. Don't be afraid to go take on a trail race or do something different. Go out there and go fail at it and try it again and figure out what you like, because there's so many different things out there. But enjoy yourself. Enjoy the ride, as Rhonda said.
Yeah, enjoy it. And I will always say this too. Great race day advice. Suck it up, Buttercup. It is what it is at this point. Embrace it and just go.
Yeah, walk on. I guess run on into that pain cave and
that's right.
Embrace it and make yourself at home. Well, you guys, thank you so much for coming on Behind the Bib, for talking about Rocket City Marathon. I know that you don't have to do this, but I appreciate you coming on here. And we will send this all out into the universe. We'll pull some South Dakota and Hawaii and Alaska folks, and hopefully we can color the whole map in to come in and experience this incredible marathon that happens in Huntsville, Alabama, the Rocket City Marathon. All right. Speaking of time to go, thank you guys so much for coming on Behind the Bib. We will see you next time. We are Behind the Bib.
Thank you.
All right. Y'all take care.
Thank you so
much. Bye-bye.
Okay, wasn't that a fantastic discussion with Rhonda and Eric? You got to hear about all the changes with the marathon this year, everybody that's coming to the expo, how they're simplifying things in advance of what sounds like is going to be a banger 50th anniversary next year. So I cannot wait for that. Looks like we've got some plans in the making with Rocket City Marathon. So hopefully we'll see some exciting stuff between Behind the Bib and Rocket City Marathon coming up in 2026. So I am not going to do my typical race recap, like all the upcoming races and all the upcoming events and everything, because this was a little bit of a longer episode. But just know that I'm thinking about every single one of you. Thank you all for anyone who has interacted with me on social media and who have especially downloaded this episode. Downloading the episode is the number one way you can help grow Behind the Bib with me and grow our little running community here in Huntsville, throughout the Southeast, and throughout the United States, and maybe even the world, y'all. Thank you all for tuning in today, whether you are first or whether you are last, whether you are somewhere in between. I'll see y'all next time we're Behind the Bib. Take care. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Behind the Bib, where we have real talk for every runner.